For the harpoon gun, I'm going to go for something very similar in style to that used in the film Jaws, but add a Steamtech twist to it. So to start off with, I want to make a wooden stock, a rifle stock for the harpoon. Because the wood I have is not deep enough to actually do the stock for the size I want, I'm going to actually glue two pieces of wood together to create a larger piece, and then design my rifle stock on the wood and then cut it out using a jigsaw. I've created a simple design for the stock for the harpoon gun. This is done by holding the wood against my shoulder and then measuring a comfortable distance to place the handle. The top of the stock has been recessed so that I can place the barrel, which will contain the harpoon, on top of the gun. I'm now going to cut the shape out using a jigsaw. This is the harpoon stock cut to shape. What we need to do now is use a spoke shave to smooth off all the edges. This is the stock for the harpoon gun after shaping. I could have used a piece of polypipe, sanded down and sprayed up as the barrel for the harpoon gun, but because I already have a brass tube of the right shape, I'm going to use this instead. This needs to be disassembled and cleaned. This is the brass pump tube all polished up. The internal part of the pump actually contained a brass rod. I'm going to use this as the base for the harpoon, although a piece of dowel would also be sufficient. I now need to make a channel in the top of the stock so we can mount the brass barrel. Cut a recess in the top of the stock so the barrel will mount in more neatly. This is the harpoon stock after it has been varnished. The next stage is to mount the barrel on top of the harpoon gun. The barrel is attached by just putting two metal straps at the front and middle parts of the guns and screwing them in place. I'm going to add a couple of blocks of wood to either side of the gun so that I can actually attach a reel to contain the rope for the harpoon. So I've added blocks of wood to either side. These are simply screwed in place. I mounted a brass curtain pole to the base of our two sets of wooden blocks. We can now attach our rope to this and wrap it round it. I've added jam jar lids on either side of the block to act as guides for the cord, and then wrapped 30 meters of cord around the spindle. The trigger is a small wooden peg put into a hole in the bottom of the stock. The trigger guard is a small piece of brass plate held in place with 4 screws. I've added some extra brass plates and a part of a gate hinge on top for additional detail. Here's the harpoon head, which is simply 2 pieces of wood glued together. This now needs to be sprayed. Here's the completed harpoon head. It's simply a brass rod with a wooden arrowhead attached to the top and held in place with a strip of brass plating. Here's the completed harpoon gun.